try to remember where you were.
That's good.
In your thought.
It's very hard.
Okay, we're recording again.
Okay, so what do we get up to?
I'll just say, I asked you the question. Do you think people are easily deceived?
Yes. I mean, you would agree with this yourself in that you would say that all these people are deceived by other religions. Yes.
Well, I was leading up to say, are you easily deceived? How do you know if you're deceived? A deceived person doesn't know they're deceived.
Yes, yes.
That's why you need the Word of God to give you light.
This is, if you like, your ability to appraise what is right and what is not. But let me finish this theme with the authority figure. People are biologically, this is a fairly hard biological leash thing, in that people are biologically tuned to respond to authority figures. You're familiar with the Milgram experiments?
No.
Right, so let me give you a scenario. Man dressed as a policeman walks into a fast food restaurant, commands one of the employees to strip search one of the customers, and it turns out that maybe in 70% of the time that they'll do this. It's basically people will respond to authority figures, and if you like, historically this is essential in that if you're going to have any society, if you're going to have, say, two conflicting societies, you need to have people have allegiance to their communal group and to the hierarchical structure of it.
You can see it in Nazi Germany, you see it in religion, you see it open to the masses.
Bingo. Right. This is where the Milgram experiments really came in, was were the Nazis really evil, or were they just people like us? I mean, you have to bear in mind that Nazi Germany was a first world Christian country. None of those factors, I think, are relevant.
Why could you say
First
they were a
world,
Christian country?
They were a Christian country.
I mean, Germany was Christian when Nazism came into it. Hitler put fake pastors in those churches.
It was, nonetheless, a first world Christian country.
So he did everything he did in the name of God?
No. The fact that it was a Christian country is actually essentially an irrelevance in this. Right? The important thing is that they were people essentially no different from you or I. And the exact nature of the Milgram experiments was there would be two people, actors. One of them would be an authority figure who was asking questions to a subject who had to answer them, and the subject was wired up to an electrical device, such that when he got, they were actors, right? And then the real subject was, you would ask me a question, and if I got the question wrong, the authority figure would give me an electric shock, and he would turn the dial, and I would scream.
I'm familiar with that experience.
Right, okay. And what this showed is that maybe as many as 70% of the people would give near fatal electric shocks, or would, in order to actually comply with the authority figure. And if you like, it's there are two aspects to it. There is maintaining allegiance to the society through the authority figure, and also if you turn your back on your society, you're now an outcast, or a renegade. So people are biologically tuned to respond to the authority figure. So if you now have the authority figure in your mind, this is, if you like, with the standard street preaching you do. You ask questions like, are you a liar? Have you ever stolen anything? These make people feel bad. The natural response to that is, you want to show to me that you are not a bad person. You want to make an act of contrition, right?
No.
This is what's happening in their mind, right? If you feel bad about something, but in order to not appear, in order to remain allied with the society, you feel the natural response to perform an act of contrition. In other words, you've immediately put them on the back foot by making them feel guilty.
But why would they feel guilty?
Because of the leading questions. Scientology does this very well.
Because they are guilty. I never tell people you're a liar. I say, have you lied?
I would recommend you take a look at the way that Scientology functions, in that, you know, they have a fairly similar way of doing things. The question is, what are your crimes? Right, very direct question.
Yeah, but
right, and immediately you are the beater. You are the subservient. You are the person who has to justify your actions.
Well, let me just take this from another point of view. I'm trying to convince the person they have a terminal disease because there's a cure. And unless they admit they've got the disease, they won't want the cure. So the disease is sin, the cure is the gospel.
Yes.
And that's the difference. I'm wanting to give them something good, but they won't accept the gospel until they acknowledge they've sinned.
And that cuts to the core point.
That's true.
Diseases are real. You have nothing for the Gospels.
Well, is sin real? Do you acknowledge there's such a thing as sin?
As I stated earlier, there are things to which there are absolute limits to with morality, and there is some flexibility of the rest.
Is there right and wrong, absolute right and wrong?
There are limits to which you can. There are limits to the behaviours you can have.
Is adultery wrong?
Adultery, sleeping with someone else's wife.
Yes.
Culturally, yes.
Is it morally wrong?
Cultural. I mean, our
what about
culture,
rape?
Within,
Rape, is that wrong?
Again, in terms of can you have a stable society in which there is
Well, what
rape?
culture would say rape is right? I don't know of any culture that says rape is good, morally good, or
well,
murder.
if you actually take a look at our closest relatives, actually you would probably contest this, but if you look at chimp culture, there are lots of similarities to
Yeah, but they don't set up court systems and punish evildoers.
Actually, they are on a much smaller scale. The troops, but yes, they do. They reward people who act for the society, and they ostracize people who are aggressively who are detrimental.
Is pedophilia wrong, morally?
It serves no benefit to the society.
Yes, it does.
No,
It makes a lot of people happy.
And
it could have
right.
monetary gain
And this
for
is
a lot of people.
this is the core point. With all these decision-making things, you have what is good for the individual, what's good for you, and what's good for the society. Yeah, and with civilizations such as ours, the benefits that I gain from this civilization are beyond comprehension, and that the knowledge that I have been given from civilization, to reacquire that knowledge is the value of that knowledge is greater than anything I could possibly achieve in my lifetime. There is 300 years since the Enlightenment where we have gained knowledge, right? And thousands of people have worked on this. So the value of this knowledge is almost beyond comprehension. And I have been given this knowledge. This is the benefit of living in a society. As an individual, you can never achieve this.
So is pedophilia morally wrong?
It serves no benefit for the society. I mean,
I'm going to disagree with you there.
What other definition is there of morality?
Well, you haven't got one. You don't have an absolute morality. I do. The Ten Commandments tell us absolute right, absolute wrong. They're eternal, written in stone. We're going to be judged by them. But you see, you can't say pedophilia is wrong, because where do you get your basis? Is a society that says it's wrong? What says society says it's right?
Well, I mean, it's one of these things. Can you conceive of a civilization that would be stable and paedophilia was acceptable?
But stable shouldn't come into it. I mean, Nazi Germany was stable.
Yeah.
They had everything running like a machine.
Actually, it wasn't.
It was run like a machine.
It was run like a very bad machine.
Oh, well. But stability shouldn't be the criteria. It's the morality that should come into it, not stability.
But who defines morality?
God.
So it's nothing to do with the people in the society?
No.
So is polygamy right or wrong?
In the Old Testament, there was dispensation when God said it was okay, because.
So if God says paedophilia is okay, then paedophilia would be okay.
No, you wouldn't go against a small character.
But there is so again, the God seems to be a very reasonable. You don't have any problem with God within His character being for polygamy or not being for polygamy.
The thing is,
you don't think that He could. I mean, with God, all things are possible.
Mm-hmm.
So by the Bible, what would be to stop Him just saying paedophilia is okay?
I wouldn't think of that in that realm. because God is righteous and holy and perfect and just, and all his judgments are righteous and true.
Yeah, so if he says paedophilia is good, then paedophilia is good.
Okay, you can believe that if you wish. I wouldn't go there.
But why not? If God said paedophilia was okay, would paedophilia be okay?
I wouldn't even. I'm not going there. It's a silly. It's a
This
straw
is not
man.
this is not
It's a
answering
straw
the,
man.
this is not answering the question, man.
Well, and it's a question I'm not going to answer because I fear
Okay.
God.